Residential sales comparison and income approach, page 16. Greater than the appraiser's scope of work decision includes the type and extent of property identification or inspection, and the research and analysis to apply in the appraisal assignment. Determining the appropriate scope of work is an ongoing process and can change during the assignment based on information and conditions learned by the appraiser, which can lead to modification of the scope of work. The scope of work an appraiser performs should not be limited by the client or intended user to the extent that credible results cannot be obtained or results are biased. Data collection and analysis. Again, the scope of work will determine the type of data necessary in a particular assignment and the extent to which it is analyzed, whatever the scope. The process is generally categorized into 3 progressive steps. 1. Collect. 2. Organize. 3. Analyze. Data collection. There are 2 sources from which data is collected in appraisal assignments: data from primary sources and data from secondary sources. Information from primary data sources is data that is discovered by the appraiser, such as through a direct interview or through the appraiser's personal investigation. Data that might be collected through primary sources includes, but is not limited to, comparable sale transaction details from a participant to the transaction, gross living area calculations, of the comparable or the subject, that are taken from the appraiser's measurements and calculated by the appraiser, physical characteristics and features of the comparable and or subject property gathered through a personal inspection, market condition trends gathered through a personal interview with individuals and entities, income data gathered from landlords in the market. Information from secondary data sources is data that is compiled by other parties and used by the appraiser. Just as an example, sources could include auditor or assessor's records, other appraisers, public records, published data, multiple listing services, MLS, etc. Many times, the appraiser must rely on secondary data because gathering the information firsthand is not practical or possible, or the data pertains to a topic that the appraiser would need special. One of the pring is were call. Loc fa nelevant things loaned lods wow as gather iniom dato from 1-261911 to 480 m. Extra notes. One of the primary is what called the landlords look for relevant things. Primary data know as gather income data from landlords, income data gathered from landlords in the market assessors.